But I have to say, anyone who has doubted me over the past decade about this evil woman now needs to eat some humble pie. The reason why these pictures are so problematic for Meghan Markle is music, because these pictures place her with Jeffrey Epstein. Meghan is at the bottom of the barrel. In fact, I've seen the tapes. I've got them somewhere. God knows where now. I've got them on. I've seen Nudie Rudy Meghan too. I've seen more than one thing. She's a con artist. It was really important to me. I remember where I come from. It's going to be explosive. I tried so hard. Yesterday, we dug into what Tom Bower uncovered in Betrayal. Music, Camilla's 6 sharp words, the sensible brand breakdown, that wild Johnny Depp comparison at 40,000 feet, and Sophie Shandoka straight up telling Prince Harry his wife wrecked his earning power. If you missed that, go watch it first, because this part picks up right where that left off. But here's the thing that kept bothering me after we wrapped. The Sussexes have taken hits before, loud ones. Piers Morgan, Samantha Markle, Valentine Lowe, even Thomas Markle Sr. all came at them in music print, and they stayed completely silent. Let me take you through what Tom Bower has revealed. He told the Daily Mirror, "I've got a lot of new material already, and I think the whole world wants new insight. Music, it's an amazing story." When Bower dropped Revenge in 2022, throwing around claims of social climbing, manipulation, and calculated image moves, still nothing. Even when Endgame accidentally exposed the names of 2 senior royals in that racism controversy, silence again. But then suddenly boom. Just 12 days before Betrayal even hit shelves, Music, their spokesperson fired off the most aggressive statement they've ever made, calling it deranged conspiracy and melodrama, like something serious was about to explode. Music, can't wait to read this. There are many, many unanswered questions when it comes to Meghan Markle. For so long, there have been rumors that many of us believe are true. And I think someone like Tom Bower can get these across the line, get them in print, and prove that they are true. Everyone thought the panic was about the brainwashing angle, or the Centibale drama, or even the Invictus footage. Sounds logical, right? Wrong. Music. Because when you actually read every serialized excerpt from the Times, front to back, something feels off, almost too clean. They talk about Prince Harry being isolated, Music, Camilla issuing warnings, charities falling apart, but one key topic is completely missing. And that's the part that should make you pause. Because whatever really scared them, it wasn't printed yet. The key line there. And the line that what really interested me was not a question about whether she was a yacht girl, but simply stating it as a fact. And then asking whether it was double figures or triple figures in terms of how many yachts she was a guest on before she met Prince Harry. Then, just 4 days later, someone over at The Spectator basically said what nobody else dared to say out loud. Julie Burkhill is not known for being careful. Far from it. She was fired from the Daily Telegraph back in 2021 after a racist, Music, tweet about Meghan Markle's child's name, and later had to pay damages to journalist Ash Sarkar after making Islamophobic remarks. By most professional standards, she's considered completely radioactive. And yet, she still writes for The Spectator, one of the oldest continuously published magazines in the English-speaking world. They tried to hide the files, Music, and they failed. The yacht girl, oh my God. Ghislaine Maxwell spoke. She said so. Virginia Roberts Giuffre spoke. They both talked about Meghan Markle. But the world chose to ignore it. And even now, with these pictures out in the public music domain, the press still refuses to expose Meghan Markle. On March 17, 2026, she dropped a column titled "Spare Us the Girls' Weekend," taking aim at Meghan Markle and her upcoming luxury women's retreat in Sydney, with tickets pushing nearly $3,000 Australian. The tone harsh, Music, personal, and exactly what you'd expect from her style. But buried in all that mockery was a line that made people stop and reread. She wrote, "No one will get to ask anything interesting, like how many yachts she was a guest on before she met her prince. Was it double figures or triple? Read that again." This wasn't some random comment online, not YouTube, not Reddit, not TikTok. This was printed in The Spectator, reviewed by editors, checked by lawyers, and cleared for publication. That changes everything. The Meghan Markle Yacht Girl claim simply will not go away. And I've spoken about this before, but until now no one in the mainstream media has been brave enough to go there. Well, that has just changed. Because for years, 7 straight years, those kinds of claims lived in the shadows. Anonymous posts, fringe forums, independent creators, while mainstream British media acted like the topic didn't even exist. But now, that silence is gone. And here's where things need to be handled carefully, because this space is messy. A lot of what's been said online about Meghan Markle's early years is a music mix of truth, speculation, and straight-up fabrication. Misidentified photos, wild theories, and reckless claims have already led to entire YouTube channels getting wiped out earlier this year. So let's draw a clear line. Something is going on. And Meghan, and all the things she has done to, pull other people down and question their behavior. Well, let's continue to turn the tables and talk about you, Meghan Markle, and what you have done. Some information out there is verified. Some comes from named sources, and some is completely made up. This breakdown sticks to what can actually be traced and supported. Now here's what is confirmed. Marcus Anderson, Global Membership Director at Soho House, originally from Canada, started as a waiter and worked his way up to become a close associate of founder Nick Jones. He met Meghan during her Suits years in Toronto and stayed firmly in her circle. He attended her royal wedding in 2018 and showed up again at her New York baby shower in 2019. That connection, documented, visible, and impossible to ignore. Royal correspondent Katie Nicholl revealed on Channel 4 that Prince Harry didn't ask for a typical date setup. Instead, he wanted something more controlled, an introduction arranged in a private room at Soho House. Tom Bower is forensic in his investigations, and he conducts them over a long period of time. This isn't like a Daily Mail hatchet job or anything like that. He has a very solid track record. Now here's where it gets interesting. Marcus Anderson wasn't even the original matchmaker. Prince Harry's own memoir, Spare. Prince Harry's memoir, Spare, confirms that Violet von Westenholz first connected them through Instagram back in July 2016. Marcus Anderson stepped in after that, handling logistics, early meetups, and the environment. He wasn't the spark, he was the system. And according to Tom Bower in Revenge, published in 2022, Meghan Markle was regularly attending Hollywood parties hosted by Brett Ratner. Not once or twice, but multiple times a week for years. Then comes a quote that hits hard. Her childhood friend Nanaki Pretty told Bower she was a conniving social climber who had her sights on snagging a prince ever since she was in high school. That's not speculation. That's a direct quote from someone who knew her long before the spotlight. You have to question that, and you have to address it. It has to be something we continue to talk about, because there may be missing pieces. Details that some believe were scrubbed from the internet long before people even knew who Meghan Markle was. Now this is where things take a sharp turn. At the time, around 60% of Soho House was owned by Ron Burkle, a powerful US billionaire with deep business ties. The company itself was founded by Nick Jones, but Burkle's financial influence was massive. And here's the uncomfortable layer. Burkle's name appears in the contact book of Jeffrey Epstein. It also showed up in flight logs tied to Epstein when US court documents were unsealed in early 2024. To be clear, there has been no evidence produced linking Ron Burkle directly to Meghan Markle in any personal or inappropriate way. That claim simply does not exist in credible reporting. This gentleman right here, that's Nick Jones, the original founder of Soho House. Guess where he's going? He's arriving at Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's wedding as a guest of honor. Oh yes, he was present there. But the connection people keep pointing at is this. The man who helped fund and shape the social world that introduced Meghan Markle into Prince Harry's orbit had documented ties to Jeffrey Epstein's network. That proximity, that's the thread some commentators are now pulling loudly. Remember that name, Ron Burkle. It's not going away. Now fast forward to February 2026, and things explode online. Just days after headlines about Prince Andrew resurfaced, a photo went viral across every platform imaginable. Music, 7 women on a yacht, Mediterranean sun, smiling at the camera, and 2 red arrows slapped on top. One pointing at Meghan, the other at a woman labeled as Karina, wrongly claimed to be Epstein's longtime girlfriend. This guy has been around all of music, the time. Isn't that suspicious to you? Because it is for me, it is. Something is strange. In my opinion, in my analysis, and in my decades of experience, this kind of analysis, for me, is the real deal. If a photo such as this of Meghan Markle with Prince Andrew years ago surfaces, that will be quite a scandal. The post came from Russian state media, and it spread like wildfire. Hundreds of thousands of views, reposts everywhere. Facebook, Reddit, X millions saw it. But here's the twist. Fact-checkers stepped in. The image itself was real, Meghan is actually in it. No manipulation, no edits. But the second woman was completely misidentified. Investigations showed she was actually Flavia Serioni, not Karina at all. Privacy laws are quite strong here. And that's what she used as a weapon at the time. There were also quite a few details about her personal life. I'll include them in another book. The Sussexes will only talk to people who repeat their own narrative. Yes, and to those they can control. So the idea that you could get the truth from the Sussexes is a contradiction. I think that's the whole issue. They are known globally, but because of the way they have behaved over the last 4 or 5 years, and as a price of betrayal, their reputation, status, and fortunes are now crumbling. The original photo was posted on August 10, 2016, by photographer Carlau Aduca, clearly tagging everyone involved. So no, Epstein's girlfriend was never on that boat. But don't miss the bigger point. The correction didn't shut the story down, it sharpened it. The yacht trip was real, and the timing was real. August 2016, just weeks before Meghan Markle and Prince Harry officially started dating. And the people on that boat weren't random. They included Misha Nanu, Heather Dorick, and Bonita Litt, all confirmed through their own posts and tags. The publication of Jessica Reed Krause's House in Habit investigation into Meghan Markle's alleged yacht girl past, which she has promised and has spent 6 years working on. Licking my lips in anticipation of when she drops that. In fact, Misha Nanu later designed the shirt Meghan Markle wore during her first public appearance with Prince Harry. So while one claim was debunked, the rest of the timeline is still standing and raising even more questions. She was right there at the center of every early introduction, every key moment, and every connection that mattered. The fake Karina claim completely fell apart under scrutiny, and that's a good thing. That's how truth is supposed to work. But here's what didn't fall apart. The yacht was still real. The network remained intact. The timing, the people, the connections, all still there, untouched, unanswered, and impossible to ignore. Now here's where things take another sharp turn. Because Ron Burkle comes back into the picture. This part barely got any attention when it first emerged. Once a Soho House basic, always a Soho House basic. In December 2021, something major happened, and the mainstream media only touched on it for a single news cycle before moving on. David Boies, chairman of Boies Schiller Flexner, one of the most powerful litigation firms in the US, sat down with the Daily Beast. At the time, he was representing Virginia Giuffre in her civil case against Prince Andrew. During that interview, of course, nobody was mentioning Meghan Markle because she was a nobody at the time. First, she was in the US, meaning jurisdiction applied to her. Second, she had been a close associate of Prince Andrew at one point, putting her in a position where she might have seen something or at least heard discussions. Third, he believed she was someone who could be relied upon to tell the truth. Think about that for a second. David Boies wasn't some random voice throwing speculation around. This is a lawyer who has taken on the US government, major studios, and massive corporations, and won. He said his team only planned 10 to 12 depositions in total, meaning every single one had to count. And yet, Meghan Markle was on that list of serious considerations. In an interview with journalist Tom Sykes, he said something that made headlines briefly, and then disappeared. He revealed that his legal team was considering deposing Meghan Markle, not as a defendant but as a witness. And his reasoning was direct, specific, and on the record. She's being flown all over the world. The Suits cast members didn't understand where she got the money to fly business class everywhere. She was coming to New York all the time. She was in New York when Prince Andrew was there for an entire month in September 2013. This is Meghan Markle in 2006 at a Hamptons party where Harvey Weinstein was also present. He even refused to consider deposing Queen Elizabeth II out of respect for her age, but Meghan Markle received no such exemption. That contrast speaks volumes. This wasn't gossip or rumor. It was due diligence from a top-tier legal mind happening in public view. And I know what you're going to say. Maybe it was just that one trip. No, there were quite a few trips. There are actually many photos of them. 2 pictures even leaked. Now look at what happened next. On January 12, 2022, Judge Lewis Kaplan denied Prince Andrew's motion to dismiss. The case was moving forward, with the discovery phase and depositions approaching quickly. Then, suddenly 5 weeks later, on February 15, 2022, Prince Andrew settled, reportedly for around £12 million. Just like that, the case never reached the stage where Meghan Markle could have been formally called. A man named Kevin Blatt, a celebrity tape broker, later described a 2018 call from a woman claiming to possess a 4-year-old tape of a Meghan Markle, who was about to marry a prince. Years later, in April 2025, Virginia Giuffre tragically passed away at her farm in Western Australia, at just 41. Her family said the weight of everything she endured became too much. Her story continued posthumously, with a memoir released months later, but the legal path had already been cut short. And here's the part that ties everything together. David Boies wasn't operating blindly. He knew about the Soho House network. He knew about Ron Burkle's documented connections to Jeffrey Epstein. He understood the elite social circles where these worlds overlapped. That's why Meghan Markle wasn't just a random name pulled out of nowhere. It was about proximity, access, and the possibility of insight into a network that very few people ever get close to. And that's exactly why this keeps coming up, that he said it clearly, out in the open, as reported by the Daily Beast. And yet, Meghan Markle has never, not once, publicly addressed those statements. That's the pattern people keep missing. Not even the allegations themselves, but the silence around them. The Sussexes know exactly how to deny things when they want to. When Tom Bower released Revenge, they stayed quiet publicly, but allies pushed back through friendly media. But what we've seen more recently is even their own circles turning on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. When Omid Scobie's endgame caused backlash, they issued careful, controlled non-answers. They have lawyers, PR teams, and strategy. They know how to shut something down if they choose to. And when Tom Bower's betrayal came out, that's when the tone flipped. They called it a deranged conspiracy, accusing him of spinning stories about people he doesn't even know. The response was pushed through multiple outlets at once, coordinated, sharp, and intentional. Even PR expert Renee Smith pointed out that the reaction made them look seriously rattled, suggesting that Tom Bower may have touched a nerve. But look closer, because this is where it gets interesting. That statement attacks the author, the method, and the motive, but it never actually denies the one thing people are focusing on. There's no mention of yachts, no mention of Soho House, no mention of Ron Burkle, and no mention of David Boies. Nothing about that entire pre-Prince Harry social network. And that silence stands out. Looking across every public statement since 2020, there isn't a single direct denial of those specific claims. Not from Meghan Markle, not from Prince Harry, not from their PR teams, and not from any spokesperson. They have strongly denied other things. For example, they pushed back on the brainwashing label, but on these particular claims, the response has remained noticeably absent. They denied bullying allegations. They challenged parts of the fallout from the Oprah Winfrey interview. But on this one topic, the questions that have been circulating for years, there has been nothing. No comment, no denial, no legal warning, just silence. And when someone pushes hard against a book, but avoids addressing the one claim everyone is actually talking about, it doesn't feel like strategy, it feels like a signal. So here's where things stand. After Prince Andrew's situation escalated in early 2022 and Major Jeffrey Epstein related documents were released, the conversation shifted quickly. What once existed only in fringe corners began appearing in mainstream spaces. A column in The Spectator brought the questions into print. Then Dan Wootton amplified fresh claims on his Substack show. As Tom Bower's betrayal rolled out, serialized in The Times, published by Blink, and reviewed across major outlets, the topic crossed a line it hadn't before. Not because of one single claim, but but because the conversation itself became acceptable in places that had previously avoided it. That's why the response was so intense, not just because of what was written, but because of what was now being openly discussed. Jack Royston, chief royal correspondent at Newsweek, warned about the Streisand effect, that by pushing so hard against the book, the Sussexes would actually drive more people to read it. And that's exactly what happened. By March 15th, Betrayal had already hit #1 on Amazon. Before a single physical copy even shipped, it had already taken off. The door didn't just crack open, it was kicked wide open. And once that door opens in mainstream British media, with legal teams, editors, and full institutional backing, it doesn't quietly shut again. Back and look at the pattern. When a columnist at The Spectator prints the question, when a senior lawyer like David Boyce publicly names Meghan Markle as a potential witness in an Jeffrey Epstein-linked case, and when insiders begin saying her brand has taken serious commercial damage, and the response to all of it is to go after every messenger without ever directly denying the core claim. At some point, that silence stops looking like strategy and starts becoming the story itself. Because the yacht questions, that's just one piece. There are multiple individuals across years and continents who have tried to put parts of this on record. None of them appeared connected or coordinated, yet the fallout around each one follows a pattern that's difficult to ignore. That doesn't look random, it looks structured. And that's exactly what comes next. This is Vintage Pulse, where the real story begins the moment everyone else decides to look away.